Hello friends, it's Chromatic Sauce and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over my tattoo setup. Now, I haven't filmed this yet, so be patient with me if it's a little bit weird, the editing. Don't forget to comment on this video. Let me know if you have any requests for types of videos you'd like to see. This is just my tattoo setup. I'm not pouring any ink. Like, would you guys like to see a breakdown video? Like, what are you looking to see? I'm down to film things that you guys are interested in. So if you have any requests, definitely comment down below and let me know what you think of this video. If you're a tattoo artist, how do you do your setup? Do you do anything differently? Do you think I should do anything differently? I would definitely be open to hearing your feedback. But anyway, let's just get on into like what I do. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like clip to like separate footage of like the full screen and then I'm just like a voiceover, or if I'm gonna be little in the corner, or if the actions are gonna be little in the corner. I don't know. Depending on what I do, comment down below and let me know if it was fine or not. It won't change this video, but it might change the way I do things in the future. But anyway, so the first thing I do to set up for any tattoo is I lay down some plastic wrap. We have a really big thing of plastic wrap at the shop I work at. It's like commercial grade, so I can just pull it and then like lay it on my arms and rip it with my arms. So I always pull it a little bit long. You'll see in the video I'm like doing actions. I pull it a little bit long so I can drape it over the edge of my station. This is a tray that sort of has wheels. It's like a stainless steel cart that has wheels. So the plastic wrap being all the way out to the edge and over the sides a little bit means that like I could potentially hold that edge, or like when I grip the station, I'm not touching the actual tabletop of that. You know what I mean? I feel like it doesn't matter like crazy anyway, because I'm always wiping down all those surfaces after anyway, but the plastic wrap being there means I'm not getting my ointment hands on my station. I'm never touching anything with dirty gloves. Oh, and the plastic wrap folded over the edge also because when I do the tattoo, usually I'll rest my hand on the edge of the station to like dip into the ink. And my hand will have like ointment, ink, like blood, like all that nastiness. And I don't really want to rest that on the counter at all. You know what I mean? Like, I want plastic to be wrapping that whole thing. That way I'm not getting ointment there, something that's hard to clean up. And my hand's not like rubbing a potentially dirty surface that's been rubbed a lot of times before by my hand. Oh my gosh, that sounds crazy. But that way it's covered. It's all good. Then I get a bib, like a dental bib. I unfold it and just place it down, plastic side down. You want the you want the paper side up because it's like absorbent if you get drips or anything. Then I get big tape, like just regular masking tape, like just like a paper kind of tape. And I tape it down and I bring it all the way to the back of the bib and I put it over, you'll see in the video, I put it over the plastic wrap, which only goes a couple inches over the edge of the station. And then I tape the plastic wrap down and I fold the end of the tape because that's what my mentor did. He said that it makes it easier to grab the end of the tape, and it does. I don't have to have like a dirty glove and like try to peel up the end of the tape. The dirtiest gloves don't have to touch the tabletop at all, just touch the tape to peel it up. So I always leave a little fold there. Then at that point, like that's the only thing that has like a particular order. Like sometimes, especially if I have like multiple clients in a row, like maybe like friends are getting tattooed, I'll have it set up before the first friend, and then in between, instead of like fully setting up my machine and everything, I'll just like get to this stage with a bunch of ripped paper towels and then do the stenciling and everything and then wrap my machine while the stencil dries. So like there's not like a hard rule of like all of this happens in a certain order, but like before this it kind of has to be that order because I can't put the bib down without the plastic wrap down. But so yeah, then at that point, basically, I rip a bunch of paper towels, I stretch it out with my arms, fold it in half, that way I can rip 2 at a time. stack it. I never like pre-rip a lot of paper towels. If I have an appointment that's like a big piece or a big tattoo or a lot of color, a lot of detail that I know I'm gonna wipe, if I'm drawing anything on, I'll rip a lot more paper towels, but I rip it specifically for the appointment or for the tattoo that I'm doing. If I'm doing a small tattoo, I'm just gonna rip probably 1 arm's length, rip, rip, rip. That's probably what you see in the footage. Rip, rip, rip down. That's usually enough. I might need to rip a couple more if we move the stencil a couple more times, or like if we're doing the second skin. Like it depends on how many paper towels. Sometimes I can get away with like maybe like 10 paper towels for the whole tattoo. I never really counted, to be honest. I just do what feels right. But sometimes it just becomes more like whether I put the stencil on crooked or the client is like whatever, like we have to move the stencil. That's like a couple paper towels every time we move it, which is, I'm always down to move it. Like if you ever need to move a stencil. Anyway, this is beside the point. But yeah, generally small tattoo, just 1 arm length, and bigger tattoos, I will rip a few at a time, and I'll just like rip more throughout the day. I never pre-rip paper towels. That just seems like a chore with not a lot of payoff, because then I'd have to store the paper towels and keep them clean. And then I'm more likely to grab too large of a stack of paper towels and then waste the whole stack when I put it on my station. So I'd rather just rip it as I go, and I don't frequently have wasted paper towels by the end of it. I try to avoid that as much as possible. Oh yeah, then I have my bottle for my green soap. I have a bottle that I have with just water, like distilled water in it, and I also have a bottle with rubbing alcohol. I definitely always use the green soap and the rubbing alcohol to apply a stencil, so I put plastic bags on both of those. And then the water, I'll put a plastic bag on to use during the tattoo process, depending on how large the tattoo is. It depends really on what I'm doing. If I need to save a stencil, but it's going to be messy, like it's a color tattoo where I need to save the stencil, I'll definitely wrap a water bottle and only use water to do the wiping, because the green soap is going to dissolve the stencil. It's going to wash it away. So the water kind of doesn't wash it away. So I'll use the water then, but I'm not always using water. Like most of the time it's just the green soap and rubbing alcohol that get a bag, but sometimes the water gets a bag too, depending on what I need to do. And then I wrap my tattoo machine at some point, and that consists of wrapping it in a clipcord cover this is like from Kingpin. I'm not sure the specs on this one, but it's just a long clipcord cover that's like maybe like this long. And then I usually will like fold it in half and then a half again, and then I'll cut it at that size, so a quarter of the size of that. And it's just long enough to like be an inch or two longer than my tattoo machine if I like position it the proper way. And sometimes they're a little longer, a little shorter, because I'm not a robot cutting those things, and I try to cut as much as I can at a time, but it's always long enough to fully cover the machine, you know what I mean? So it fully wraps and protects it. So I slip that over the machine, and then I get barrier film. Now barrier film usually comes in rectangles that are, what are they, like 5 by 3 inches or something like that, like something like that. So normally I cut them in half, and I'll use just half of a barrier film to wrap around the top of the machine, just like this. So I'll do that, holding it down, and not really pulling, stretching a lot for the first one, but just making sure it's like taut. I wrap it around the tip, and I make sure it's covering up to the plastic on both sides and overlapping. And then I turn the machine and I hold it with my finger, and then I pull this a little bit tighter to try to smooth out any wrinkles. That way I can get just a nicer seal on the opening of the tattoo machine in general. And this side's a little bit shorter, so I always make sure that it's meeting the plastic and that the plastic is fully covered with this barrier film. And I do that on both sides. For the back of the tattoo machine, I haven't always done this, but watching my videos back, I'm like, no one's no one commented anything, but I was looking and I'm like, someone might think that that's not right. So I was like, let me just fix this before it becomes a question, it becomes a problem. So what I started doing, which actually became a very easy solution to something that when I first started tattooing, kind of struggled figuring out a little bit, which is why I decided to just leave it open at the end. I just took that half of a clipcord cover. No, I just took the half of the barrier film that I would just save for the next tattoo, and I would cut it in half. And then so I'll just fold the barrier film. I'll fold the edge just like I do on the front of my table with the masking tape. I'll fold the edge, that way it's an easy like pull off at the end kind of thing. I'll flatten it to one side and fold it over. You'll see in the video. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like that is pretty good for me, that it still will be very easy to just unwrap it, because the barrier film's not crazy sticky. It'll be easy for me to just like unpeel it and then basically break down the way I normally do. But it's just, there's no question, like no drips are going to accidentally drip into the tattoo machine. So it's like, it was clean before, but now it's like for sure, definitely way more sealed up now at the very least. So that way, if anyone wanted to complain, if you see any of those videos, definitely feel free to leave a comment if you want, but I'm trying not to do it anymore. Sometimes I still forget because it's a new habit, but I've pretty much fully made the switch. So I'm definitely happy, like, being able to watch my videos. I'm like, I can see something that, like, maybe I didn't notice before, and I can be like, you know what, maybe I'll do this differently, and I fixed it. So yeah, let me know. I'm open to constructive criticism. Usually it's just me constructively, or sometimes not constructively, criticizing myself. So definitely, if you have tips on like how to do the setup better. I always struggle, like some people use masking tape and like they use barrier film for their whole tattoo machine and they like fold it certain ways. I'm like, first of all, that takes so long to be fiddly with it. And I really could never figure out how to like sanitarily take that wrapping off without contaminating your tattoo machine anyway. Because if I'm touching the outside of the tattoo machine, and so the whole outside of the tattoo machine potentially has a biohazard on it from tattooing, how am I supposed to peel off tape or barrier film once my hand touches that outer barrier film to peel it off? It's contaminated. And then which glove is supposed to get the tattoo machine after that? I never really figured that out. So after the barrier film's on, or it doesn't really matter the steps, to be honest, as long as the machine's wrapped the same way at the end. So then I have the barrier film on both ends, and then I just take the grip tape. It's called like Sensi Wrap, you know, that stretchy, like, you'll see it in the video. I just wrap it around a couple times. I don't use a whole roll for every tattoo. Like, I could maybe do 3 or 4 tattoos with one roll. Sometimes, I don't know, I don't even count. I just kind of aimlessly do it till it feels right, and then I rip it. And that's the machine set up. And then to get it ready to tattoo, I don't think I said this yet. I'm really scattered right now. Then I just get an ink cap. Usually I just use the same ink cap for the same purpose every single time. I just smack it into the top of the tattoo machine, and that sort of, those ink caps are the perfect size for the tattoo machine, so it just cuts a perfect circle for your cartridges to fit in. And my mentor taught me that. He taught me a lot of things. Thank goodness for mentors. Then I think everything after that point is basically stuff that I wouldn't do till the client gets there. Things like prepping the stencil, printing the stencil, unless I know for sure what we're doing. Like, usually I wait till you show up and I'm like, what size do you want? You get to choose a size and we print it there. So I'm not printing a stencil ahead of time. I'll frequently do a stencil stuff, like squeeze a little dollop of stencil cut stuff in the corner on the masking tape before the client gets here, but I try not to do anything like wet on the setup before the client gets there, because well, like half the time I don't even want to set up before the client gets there in case you get no-showed, because it sucks to have a whole setup with ointment, and even ink would be even worse, but I never pour ink before the client has a stencil on, basically. I don't ever want the client to walk up thinking like, man, there's ink poured and a needle. Was someone tattooed? Like, is this an old setup? Like, I like to pour the ink and open the needle in front of them. I don't know if they notice, but if they do, they know this is fresh out the package. I like to give them that proof. But sometimes I'll get the cartridges out. If I know them, I know what we're doing, we're just going to hop into something, I might open it up. Like, I'm still unlikely to, and I'm still unlikely to pour the ink ahead of time before a client gets there. Like, even if I want to be really prepared, you just can't be, that's kind of gross, I feel. I don't know. It's not bad, but like, it just makes sense. Pour it after they get there, all that type of prep. Or if you think I forgot anything, definitely comment down below. I'll answer your questions. If you'd like to see any other types of videos from me, definitely let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback. And yeah, that's how I do my setup. Let me know, how do you do yours? I'd love to hear everyone's perspective. Or how do you notice that your artist does their setup before you get there? Or like, what do they do once you get there? Do they do the whole thing once you get there? Sometimes I do that. But yeah, just let me know. Let's talk. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Like I said, comment down below. Follow me on my Instagram at Chromatic Sauce. Same way it's spelled here. You can see more of my like up-to-date tattoos that I've been doing. And besides that, check out my website, chromaticsauce.com. If you want a tattoo from me, just fill out my booking form, and then I might reply eventually. That would be sweet, huh? I just been talking for a while. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you. See you in the next one. Bye. I just have a scratchy throat when I talk too much.